What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. So in past videos, I've talked about predicting the next major attractions at some amusement parks, and I am going on with that series. There has been no other major park in the news as much as Kentucky Kingdom this week, as Herschend Family Entertainment has taken over officially and now owns the property. Now, of course, I don't see a lot of change happening this year, but this list is for future projects. So let's look at Herschend and Kentucky Kingdom in general. First, looking at Kentucky Kingdom, let's just say that the park is extremely landlocked. It is located in the center of the Kentucky Exposition Center and borrows a lot of land from it. And they've had a lot of trouble in the past getting new land, so let's just say that this park is extremely landlocked and the surrounding land is very strict on what they put there. Up next, let's talk about Herschend Family Entertainment. They own 25 properties across the United States, including 3 major amusement parks: Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, and Wild Adventures. And Dollywood and Silver Dollar City are easily their 2 flagship parks, and they like to work a lot with Mach, RMC, and Gerstlauer in the recent few years. One of their biggest hits is Time Traveler, a massive Mach Rides extreme spinner. In this video, I will be guessing on what the next major attraction will be at Kentucky Kingdom under the rule of Herschend. Now, this video would be much different if this was still under the ownership of Ed Hart, but everything I'm talking about in this video applies to Herschend and Herschend only. Herschend now owns the park, and of course makes the decisions on what attractions could be at the park, so that's what's decided. So this is Cedar Flags, and I will be predicting the next major attraction at Kentucky Kingdom under Herschend. So, I was talking about the one and only Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City earlier, and I could definitely see with the success of this ride, Mach Rides and Herschend having a great partnership. So with Kentucky Kingdom, I could easily see their next coaster being a Mach multi-launch. Nothing too big, but something maybe the size of Manta at SeaWorld San Diego. Their relationship with Mach Rides has been ever so increasing because of the creation of the one and only Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. And let me just say, this ride was extremely successful. Now, I do not see an extreme Mach spinner coming to this park, but I do see something like a smaller launch coaster. I don't see them putting that much money and resources and figuring out what land they could use to put a massive new spinning coaster. But if they did add a launch coaster, it would be the park's only launch coaster, and it would bring in lots and lots of fans in the Louisville area that don't go out too much that would definitely like to see a launch coaster. And it would be the first launch coaster at the park since Six Flags closed it. If they really wanted to, they could also make it a shuttle launch coaster, something similar to Capitol Bullet Train, and that would be a pretty good idea, because it would be the only shuttle coaster at the park as well. But moving on, something very similar, but very different at the same time, we have a Gerstlauer shuttle launch coaster. Look at something like Fire Chaser Express at Dollywood. That coaster was a huge success for families and people of all ages. It has a lot of thrilling elements to the ride, but at the same time, it's still family oriented, so families will enjoy this ride all together. The children, the teens, and adults will all have a great time on this thing. It features a lift hill, a launch, and a backwards launch. But if I saw this at Kentucky Kingdom, maybe they would take out one of those elements and make it a shorter version. Maybe take out the backwards launch, or maybe take out the lift hill. But I would definitely love to see something like this come at the park. It would be a great addition, and it would definitely be a smaller Fire Chaser Express. If they decided to go with the backwards launch, it would be the only coaster with a backwards launch in the area. I mean, Kings Island or Holiday World don't have any. The nearest I can think about is Wicked Twister at Cedar Point, or Dollywood itself. The third project I want to talk about is a bar engineering river rapids ride. Think of something like Mystic River Falls at Silver Dollar City. This is an incredible rapids ride that is seeking the eyes of coaster enthusiasts and water ride enthusiasts alike. Now, a lot of companies used to go with the older Intamin models, but recently everyone has been going with the bar engineering model. Now, I do think this would be a good and reasonable fit for the park. Even though it is not a theme park, they could definitely add some pretty good theming to this and give it a really good environment. It would be great theming for the park, and it would be good for families and the general public to enjoy. While coaster enthusiasts go on Storm Chaser and Lightning Run, this would be a great ride to attract families and distribute the lines across the park. Now, I know Kentucky Kingdom already does have a water ride in Mile High Falls. I could definitely see this as a replacement, as these bar engineering rapids rides include a rapids portion and then a drop, which would make Mile High Falls basically useless. So maybe if they replace that with this, it would be a great hit for the park. Finally, I want to talk about a lesser ride at the park. Not a roller coaster, not a custom water ride, but a new major flat ride coming to the park. I am thinking of an S&S Screamin' Swing. Now, an S&S Screamin' Swing would be a pretty good fit for the park, and let me tell you why. First of all, the company loves to add these. You have these at Dollywood and Silver Dollar City, and with a great capacity, these could hold a lot of people and shorten a lot of lines. Now, it is a very good thrill, but it doesn't go upside down completely, so it definitely would be a good fit for families. The final thing I want to talk about with the S&S Screamin' Swing is the small footprint. Now, as opposed to a major coaster or something like a water ride that would take up a lot of land, this would have a nice and small footprint where you could easily remove some flat ride or an empty plot of land and put this in. It would be a great hit and would be a pretty good area to put it in. There is no Screamin' Swing around. The closest I could think of is once again at either Dollywood or Cedar Point. Maybe Busch Gardens Williamsburg? So finally, after we are done with all of that, let's talk about where in the park these attractions could be put. Now, when it comes to the Mock multi-launch or the Gerstlauer launches, you could easily customize that ride to put it in a small footprint, maybe in some out and back layout, and it would definitely fit out well for the park. But with the Rapids ride, that would be a pretty wide and pretty long footprint. But with the Rapids ride, I could easily see it replacing Mile High Falls in that water ride area. As with the two roller coasters, I could easily see these being put behind T3, maybe have a stretch of an out and back roller coaster stretching from T3 to Storm Chaser. Yeah, I feel like that would be a pretty good area because that theater is back there, and Kentucky Kingdom still owns a bit of that land. It could be a great out and back experience for both, and would provide a good thrill in the back of the park. Who knows, the station could be near Storm Chaser, and provide another good attraction at that side of the park. But ending off this video, I do know that adding new attractions and roller coasters are not their new focus. They're first going to focus on having a year-round season and then overall park improvements. And we might not see a new coaster here until at least maybe 4 or 5 years. But for now, it's nice to speculate. This is Cedar Flags. What did you think about this video? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked it, like, share, and subscribe. We are so close to 5,000 guys, so if you would click that subscribe button, it would be very beneficial. So this is Cedar Flags, and I will see you all later.